Very quickly, this is how you draw a daisy. You start with a circle in the middle, and then on the side you put a leaf out like this. Bit of a triangular shaped leaf to there. And then we start with another one, but each one of these is going to get shorter. This is what you call foreshortening, as something comes towards you in the perspective terms. So this is closer to us than these ones at the side. Then as you come around, again you start to get a bit longer again, until you get one that kind of measures out the same sort of distance the far side. There we go. And then around the back you get these little sort of suggestions of leaves that are dripping back the other side. Underneath your daisy, you then need to get it to join to the stalk. And of course, don't forget that they have little leaves. Every so often you'll have a leaf. Of course, this is more of a sort of a gerbera style daisy. Lengthen your petals out if you like to balance them out. Once you've got it right, work with the lines that work. Don't work with the lines that don't. There we go. This is fairly standard for a lot of flowers. You just need to change the colours for lots of different flowers. So to take this to the next level, we're going to take out a couple of lines here, just there, with my eraser there. It's worth using a good quality rubber, just so you don't get a nasty smudge, just take out the lines you don't want. Right, so we're going to go from here, and the next thing to think about is where the light's coming from. So we're going to assume the sunlight is coming in that direction, okay? So that sort of direction. Nice light lines there. And then we're going to be looking at where the highlights will be. So pretty much the highlight in the central bit will be there. Then you'll have a highlight here, 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 where it touches the leaf there, obviously on the top of these ones here. Okay, and then really you're putting in the shadows. So anything that's away from that will require a deep shadow. Now I've switched to a softer pencil, so this is actually a 4B, whereas the original sketch was done in an HB. But you can just go over it and press harder to get a better response. So, but you're going to be putting in anywhere that there's a sort of a crevice where the shadow might be, and then graduate up and around to where your highlights are going to be there, you see, there. And then underneath the leaf you're going to be wanting your shadows under there. These tips won't have quite as much light on them away from where the sun is. So you graduate up from the bit that's furthest away from the light. And of course underneath there will be a lot more shadow, but you could denote that using a different sort of stroke perhaps under there. So it's the shadow on the underneath there, the section that joins your daisy to the stem. That's what makes that particular petal there stand out. And of course you're going to have more shadow on this side of the stem and the underside of your leaf. So your leaf will have highlights, probably I would have thought, across the central section there. And then you work the difference between the dark and the light. So there you have the finished shaded daisy with all the darks and the light contrast, giving it that 3D feel.